Hi, today is Friday, May 26, 2017, and this is a Sweet Speaks. And we should talk about, the fact that Sweden is burning and why. I will try to give you an analysis of it. I would like to start off by telling you something personal. When I grew up in the 1980s, I started going to school in 1985 when I was 7 years old. I turned 8 that fall, by the way, but I was 7 years old on my first day of school. Anyway, and we used to joke about burning down the school. I mean, that was the kind of jokes we would do at school. But no one did it. It was a joke. Those things never happened in Sweden. We never heard of anyone putting a school on fire. However, in 2012, which would be roughly 25 years later than I and my friends made these jokes, it was reported that Sweden was one of the countries in the world with the highest frequency of burning schools. Actually, these schools on fire, in absolute numbers, was a bigger expense to Sweden than burning schools in the United States was to the US. And the US then had roughly 30 times the population of Sweden. And sometime around then, other things started burning too in Sweden. Cars, trash rooms, and commercial buildings like restaurants and shops, but also churches, which is underreported by the mainstream media, by the way. And even asylum housing and mosques. I mean, recently there was a Shia mosque in Jakobsberg, north of Stockholm, that was on fire. And I would like to mention now that I left Sweden in 2006. And I can't remember hearing of any burning cars or burning churches or burning asylum housing or, well, actually, I didn't hear about anything burning in Sweden back then. And of course, you would say in 2006, the mainstream media still had sort of a monopoly on truth and things like that, so maybe things were happening that it wasn't reported. Yes, maybe it was the case. But as far as I know, this started sometime after that. And by 2012, I suppose, well, actually things were going on. I remember that in 2013, I think, with the riots north of Stockholm, I think that was the first time I actually heard about this, and I was a crazy leftist by then, so I tried to explain this with socioeconomic factors and stuff like that. I'll give you my short version of what I think about these explanations now. They don't work. Because why is it the segregated areas where Islam is the biggest religion that are burning, and not places where poor white Swedes live, or, well, poor people in Sweden who are either ethnic Swedes or ethnic Finns or ethnic European? You understand what I mean? Why aren't those places burning? So that explanation doesn't work. So I already started on the why question. Let's go on the why question. An ex-Muslim that I know, named Eddie Omar, he has said on some occasions that when things start burning in these suburbs, or these no-go zones, actually, it's not about devout Muslims. It's not about people who go to the mosque every Friday and pray 5 times a day and stuff like that. It's not. However, if I understood his argument correct, and I think I support his argument if I understood it correct, what he is saying is that they are inspired by the anti-Swedish agenda, the anti-Western agenda, the anti-Christianity agenda of mosques and imams. And they are in an environment where even if you are not really practicing your faith, Islamic State warriors are still cool. They are cool to them in the same way as Che Guevara was cool to my parents' generation. Well, to those who belonged to the left in the 70s, which was more or less, well, a lot of Swedish youngsters were leftists back then, and to them Che Guevara was cool. And now Islamic State warriors are cruel to people in the no-go zones. So you still have this mindset, this narrative. And I mean, I could guess that some people put their businesses on fire to make money. I mean, insurance fraud, that might happen, of course. I don't know how common that is, but that's a possibility. I mean, of course, that happens in some cases. But what about the churches? Should we make a wild guess? I don't think it's about devout Christians. No, it's not. At least it's not about devout Christians. Not a chance, because we don't do that kind. We don't do that. Period. I mean, you know what I think. I think it's got to do with Islam. And what about the asylum housing and the mosques? Yeah, that would be a tougher one. Swedish media, or the mainstream media, has been very active in trying to frame so-called right-wing elements or Nazis for this. But as far as I know, there is not a single case from the last years of these fires where they have actually been able to prove that there was any Nazi or any right-wing element, whatever they mean by that, involved in this. There has been some asylum housing that has been put on fire by people living there because they weren't happy with the place. There was a mosque in Eskilstuna that was put on fire by accident, well, because they couldn't handle the technology there. But as far as I know, there hasn't been a single right-wing element or Nazi, and I don't like Nazis. And anyone who studied my comment section should know this by now. I'm just saying that doesn't seem to be happening right now. I mean, I'm open for the possibility that it could happen and that it might have happened, but we don't know of a single case where that has been proven for the last few years, as far as I know. But all of this, even whoever does this, all of this still creates an atmosphere where Islamization is lurking in the backwaters, where this is like an end goal. And so I guess the question here was why. My question was not what we're going to do with it. The question here was why. And if I'm going to go on about what to do about it, this is going to be a very long video. So I think I'm not going to do that now. I'm just trying to answer the question, why does this happen? And that's what I intended to do now. And what to do about it, that will have to wait for some other video, some other week. So that's what I have to say about this right now. I would like to thank the people who are supporting this channel through Patreon, through PayPal, through prayers, and I would also like to thank a certain Ulrich for giving me idea to this video. It took me a long time to actually get around to do this because I had so much things to do all the time, but I've been thinking about it for weeks. So thank you for giving me this idea. And if you like this channel, please subscribe so you don't miss anything. Please like this video if you like it. Please share this or other of my videos on social media, on Facebook and Twitter and other social media. If you got something to say, feel free to comment. And of course, I would also like to encourage you to support this channel. And I will include all the necessary information in the information box below. This is A Swede Speaks. Have a nice day.